Hi, grade sevens. Okay, so we're on our third class. This is our third lesson. This is called China's Economy. It's really important, and it makes so much sense that the textbook, it's just such a coincidence that it goes on to China, because this obviously is the epicenter of where this coronavirus began, where this crisis began. And so it'll be interesting to kind of dive into a study on the economy in China. So, how money rolls around and how they have made decisions economically with jobs and with agriculture and with industry over in the past sort of 50 to 60 years. We're going to get to kind of understand how the system is a little bit different there. Right? We've talked a lot about, we've talked a bit about the word communism and what that means. We talked a little bit about China's Communist Party, and we'll get into it a little bit more when we're talking about the economy. So the first slide, just very simple, kind of overview on China's economy. Fortunately, the next section in our textbook goes into China's economy, which I just said. What perfect timing. The coronavirus crisis began in China, so it'll be interesting to look into their economic system and build some inquiries and thoughts. That's exactly what I just said, but this is the first slide, so it makes a lot of sense. Agriculture, this is what we start with. Is farming important in your area? Who owns farms? What sort of equipment is used? In 1949, when the Chinese Communist Party came to power in China, the main economic activity was agriculture. That's farming. Think of the Annapolis Valley. We have acres and acres and acres of farmland, okay? We have a lot of farmers markets. China's a gigantic country. They have a lot of arable land that is great for farming. The leader of the Communist Party, Mao Zedong, ran the government as a dictatorship. We talked about that word dictatorship. That means that there's one person in power who makes all the decisions. The government took land from private owners and gave it to groups of workers to run cooperatively. These were known as communes. Okay? A commune was almost like a little town or a little farming village. These farms eventually became really huge, like actually their own little farming city. There were 60,000 communes, if you can imagine. That's a huge number. By 1979, there were 60,000 communes, each with about 13,000 people in them. And everyone would be working on the land. If you look at that picture at the bottom right there of the slide, you can see all of these people working away on a farm, kind of similar to what it would be like. The government decided on the amount of crops and livestock each commune should raise. Okay, so this was their idea of running an economic system like this in their communist country. Industry. The Communist Party determined it was also important to create different industries. Coal and iron mines were developed. Large government-owned factories were built. In 1958, the Communist Party decided to take advantage of China's large number of workers. There's so many people in that country, so many people. The government ordered that all people should spend some time working at physical labor. Over 100 million people began using shovels to build dams and canals. Like, what would it be like to build a dam with a shovel? Like, it would be terrifying. The results were not really what the government had expected because of that. Because it would be so hard. The labor would be so hard that people would just not want to do it. So production went down actually with these with what was happening at this time, and 20 million people died of starvation. Right? Because if things aren't being made and if farming isn't being done, then people are going to die, unfortunately. So my question to you is, why do you think that happened? I want you to think about that for a little bit. Economic change. In 1978, a new leader named Deng Xiaoping decided that there should be more economic freedom so that the economy could grow. Okay, so wanted to sort of get rid of this system of communes and give people a little bit more freedom. China began to allow more international trade. As we know, foreigners were invited to start their own businesses there. Nearly 180 million farms were given to individual people to farm on their own. Privately owned factories were also now allowed. So people could start to kind of get into private business a little bit and make some more money on their own. Owners could decide what to produce, what prices to charge, and what wages to pay. The country's economy began to grow really quickly, like rapidly. With so many people and a history of labor, Chinese companies were able to produce products at an incredible rate, an incredible speed. The effects of economic change were huge on this, right? China's growing economy has changed its culture drastically. Free markets and competitions have influenced the way of life for millions of people in China. People began to be able to make more money, so the culture in China changed a lot. Less people died, right? More people made a lot more money. There are more goods available for people to buy now. So China certainly faces challenges, right? The increase in economic activity has created more pollution. When more people buy cars, there's obviously going to be a lot more pollution. Fascinatingly, I say down here, the coronavirus crisis has been really good for the environment, actually. I want you to think about that. How has this crisis we are in been good for the environment? You've probably thought about that already, but it's so interesting that we're talking about economic change because, of course, with how many people are in China, we also don't really know how the situation in China is. Because, again, it's a communist country, so we don't really know what they're telling us. Before we get right to your assignment, I want you to have a really good look at this next video. It's about 2 minutes long. It's a nice little intro to what we're talking about, and a little break right now, just a little brain break, and watch this short video right over here about China.
Hello, friend. You know I love talking about fun places around the world. And today, I've got 10 fun facts about China for kids. Starting off, when talking about China, it has an official name. That official name is the People's Republic of China. When taking a look at the map and countries around the world, China is huge. In fact, China is so large that it is the third largest country in the world. Another fact about China is they have so many railroad tracks going through China that if you were to put them all together, they could wrap around the earth twice. Now, when it comes to the largest population in the world, meaning where do the most people live, China tops the list. That is because it is said that there are approximately 1.3 billion people living in China. Just like in the United States of America, our capital city is Washington, D.C. China has a capital city too. The capital city of China is Beijing. When looking at the calendar, China has a celebration called Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year is made up of 15 days of celebration. Another interesting thing about the Chinese calendar is the fact that each year is represented by animals. In order, the 12 animals are the rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and a pig. Of course, in any country, you want to look for beautiful things to see, and the city of Hong Kong has that. That is because in Hong Kong, it has the most skyscrapers of any city in the world. Another interesting thing about China is that there is a city called the Forbidden City. The Forbidden City is a complex in China that has 9,000 rooms to visit. Finally, many kids love looking at the stars and thinking about outer space. When it comes to countries actually sending people to outer space, China did succeed in putting a person into outer space. They were the third country in history to send someone into space. And that is all with 10 fun facts about China for kids. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
And I hope you had fun learning with F-R-E-S-B-E-R-G cartoon.
For your assignment this week, this assignment, you will choose 3 items in your home that say Made in China. So you're going to actually go around your house and find 3 items that say Made in China somewhere on them. You will definitely be able to do this. You would probably be able to choose hundreds of items, but you just have to choose 3. Then I want you to head over to flipgrid.com, and using your KES email address, I want you to sign in with the Flipgrid code SOCIALS7A. That's it. It'll take you right to our page. You'll see the little the first assignment. You'll post a short 1.5-minute video showing the items that you have found that are made in China, and you're going to tell us what you think the advantages and disadvantages are that these items were made in China. Thank you.